Okay, we'll call the finance meeting to order at 6:32 PM, March 13th. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated. I think we do roll call next.
Do you not have your agenda?
Probably. Yes.
It's in the packet,
Yeah,
yeah.
call to order, roll
Okay.
call. Yep, sorry.
Michelle Dumont,
Here.
Bob Pangborn,
Here.
Corey Harrier.
Here. Okay, so have we had time to read the meeting minutes from February?
I'll make a motion to accept meeting minutes as published.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor?
Aye. Good job, there's any other person here.
And then we'll look through the documents, cash journal and such.
Who's William Kenneth?
That would be Bill Moore.
Oh, okay.
That was for the reimbursement for the badges that you guys authorized, or council authorized last month, which I do have them here.
Okay, good. We're there too?
Yeah, his and hers.
Oh, okay, okay,
So.
okay, yep. Is it Summit Street Hydrant? Penny? Maybe?
Give her one copy.
Oh, for the squad.
Here's
Is that what
mine.
it is?
Um, I give you my copy.
OMT.
Oh, yeah, that's for the grant, Summit Street Grant
Okay.
project. Yep, that's our portion for the
Sorry.
engineering.
No, that's fine.
I try to write small and then I make it work.
Well,
looks like
there's
it
not
got-
much room.
It looks
Oh.
like it got cut off a little bit.
Oh,
for
well, then
public
it might, I'm
copying.
sorry.
It's all good.
So did we, looks like we ordered some meters?
Yes.
That meter was for that's one for the school, right?
School, yeah.
Yes, that's for one large meter, a
Oh,
3-inch line.
So when we fill the pool up, so is it like any other big body of water, you fill the pool up and watch for leaks? Is that what this is on here, this $12,000 charge?
Oh, so that was last year, so, when we done the construction, and everything ripped off, we had them come in and check for leaks, and they pressure test the system.
Yeah.
And that was our invoice. We had some questions about it that we couldn't get answered. We owe them that money.
Oh, yeah.
When we fill the pool up this year, we'll know for sure because they identified a leak, but they told a contractor about it, not a village. Again, they didn't know who was who. So they walked up to a contractor who was doing other work there and said, hey, there might be a leak in this area, don't know what you guys are gonna do, let us know. Well, that's as far as it went. Well, then we got the invoice, and it said that, and it's like, well, they didn't tell us, and why didn't they fix it that day? So, but what we think is, during that time, the contractor, Jason Cooper, had discovered a leak, and he had taken out a portion of the pipe or something while they were still testing. So we're thinking the reason why they didn't have pressure there is because of something like that.
Oh.
And hopefully it's fixed. I mean, that's the best I can say there.
Hopefully, because it's under concrete now,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. But they did fix the other leaks, or we repaired the other
Yeah,
leaks that we
already
had,
started,
yes. And that 12,000 was for what they actually bid on, like it wasn't that they charged us for something they didn't
Right.
do.
Right, right,
Leaks
right.
at Penny. I never forgot where it was.
Over by the garage by the Dollar General, is that where it was? She talks about all these roads where people live, and I don't, it's like Swahili to me, I don't have any idea.
Ingles Garage?
Is it-
Yeah, so I wanted to tell, actually, I know it's finance meeting, but before I forget. Casey, Penny, actually, in our sewer board meeting, she actually, a couple months in a row, we've talked to her about it. She says there's been water running in between the house, you know the garage closer to the dollar store, which I think is Ingles
Mhm.
Garage. In between a house right there and that
Oh,
at
his-
times when she'll walk, there's water running.
The rental where Bill Burt fixed, and it,
Where we fixed.
yeah, it's been fixed
Oh.
three,
It's been fixed like 3 times.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we didn't know if that was some of your loss of water,
No,
just 'cause, okay, okay,
we found that one.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an easy find. You go drive down the road, you can see that one.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah.
been, I think so far it's been like 3 or 4 times that one's gone out.
Mm-hmm.
It's all under that house,
Okay,
so. Now that it's coming up, it shouldn't be blowing out anymore,
okay,
because there's no insulation under that house.
okay. I just didn't wanna forget to tell you, cause you tell us to watch for them all the times.
Yep, no, thank you.
Does this Bill, somebody lives there still, no insulation?
Bill is the, well, the owner is Ingalls, Bill is the maintenance man. So the owner tells him what to fix. But I think they did finally discover, like, it really is because of the cold and no insulation, they were gonna remedy that,
Yep,
finally.
so I think they actually did on the last one, they actually ran all new,
PEX, wasn't it?
tech.
And then, yeah.
You see next stuff, or next one?
I have no internet.
Hey, no non-sufficient fund checks.
Yay.
We don't really get too many of those, like we used to.
Yeah, we used to have one, about 1 or 2 every month.
Yeah, it was ridiculous there for a while, till we started cracking down on them.
Uh-oh, water shut off. Is this all of them? It was on that package of stuff.
Okay, did you sign it?
Oh,
That's why I gave it to you.
Stock market's got me crazy.
Oh, your message.
It's like Isaac's friend, she's becoming a nail tech.
Oh, nice.
So she needs people to,
Get her nails done.
yeah, to practice on for her hours.
I'll get it, cause it is spam. Village Pleasantville. Hello? Who? This is the Village of Pleasantville. How about- Debt collector.
Oh. Is there something we need to know?
Not, it wasn't for the village. I didn't even recognize the name.
Look closer, Cory.
No, we get, prescriptions are ready. Debt collector, I wanna buy your house, and there's a 4th one. And the one that I wanna buy your house, they won't, like, you have to hang up.
Oh, yeah, they don't. do
Like, no, we wanna buy your house. 106 Columbus Street, it is not a house for sale, it is a fire station. No, it's a house, we wanna buy it.
Who's Everett J. Prescott?
That's the one we order the meters
Yeah,
for.
that's the meters.
Um,
BJP.
Yeah.
So El Pedregal put a water and sewer deposit down, huh?
Hmm?
El Pedregal,
Yes.
put a water and sewer deposit.
Yeah. They came in yesterday and paid their bill. They told us, what they tell us, Casey, Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
Was that when they're gonna open?
Mhm.
Yeah,
That's what their goal.
The goal is, okay.
yeah. He was hoping before that.
They're waiting on tables
Tables?
and
Finished
dishwasher.
painting, yes.
Well, painting should be done today, this week.
Tables and what?
A
Dishwasher.
dishwasher,
Oh, I'm surprised they didn't get to keep those tables, or they just didn't want those tables.
I'm gonna assume they're probably like the traditional
Turn
Mexican
the water
restaurant,
off.
yeah.
Is the water off in that place?
No, it's on.
It's on.
No, it's
Mhm.
on.
Where else is there in El Pedregal?
Lithopolis,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Lithopolis.
Lithopolis.
Yes.
Mhm.
Are they moving, or is it just a second?
No,
It's a second
there's
location.
a
Where's
second
that?
location.
I've never heard of it.
Lithopolis.
It's a Mexican restaurant.
Really good.
Lithopolis.
Yeah, it's worth a trip to Lithopolis.
That
Well,
restaurant used to be,
Yeah.
where that restaurant is, it used to be, when I was a kid, two British ladies that ran a tea house.
Yes.
And you would have an actual real British tea. It was really cool. It was
Yeah.
like full of
There
chintz
used to
and
be one
fluffy
downtown
chair.
register that was full too, and it looked like full British.
Yeah,
If it was
like,
the same people.
I don't think so, if it was like two ladies that were friends and that had money to, and they were British, and it was like British flags and chintz and it looked like sort of gardeny, lots of flowers.
Did they have to re-sign any of the POs that you had to rerun for the year?
So this is the thing. I have to close one out to be able to do the new one.
Okay,
So I haven't started that yet.
okay.
Oh, I thought we signed them all, didn't we?
We did, but we figured out why I got a dink on the audit is because we were using, what was we using? The one we were using, you could only have them for 90 days. They could only be open 90 days. And I was using them for the whole year. So it's just a matter of now we go to,
Yeah, you do super blanket now, right? For
Yes.
a year, and there's two, it's confusing, because there's what, two blanket POs? And one's the
Yes.
short term, which is what we're doing, there's one for something else,
yes.
and they give you no definitions in the system. You have to go read the law,
Yeah.
and our last auditors did not question it
Yeah.
for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do we have an approval of the February 25th documents?
He's staring at her and she's,
I'll make a motion to accept the documents.
Everybody in favor say
How
aye.
you doing, Bill?
Aye.
I think I found you a more comfortable chair.
Oh,
If it doesn't work out, let me know.
oh, it'll be all right. Yeah, it's good and heavy. That-
Mhm.
New
That's
business?
what I need, something heavy to push
Okay,
on.
do I have
Yep.
a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Everybody in favor? Aye.
That was funny.
6:47.
He loves waiting for me and stuff.
He's letting Corey go first.
He always would, if you guys watch it, he'll look over at us like, yeah. Even in the regular meeting.
Well, that's what he was doing
The
there, is
regular
he was
meeting,
looking at
it's always
Corey.
on that side.
Start it there, finish it here.
Every once in a while, Bill gets one.
Yes,
be quick about it.
There's one person that probably would first and second all the motion. She could.
Let me pause the video.
Yeah.
Jumps right in there.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
Mayor Henderson,
Present.
Councilwoman Dumont,
Here.
Councilman Mason,
Here,
Councilman Pingborn,
Here.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Here.
Councilwoman Wharton, here, Councilwoman Henry.
Here.
All right, we did forget to do this last month, but we do have to have an election of council president. So the way this works is that we have a couple new people, is anyone that is on council can be nominated for council president, and then it's just an open vote. When I call for names, you can submit whatever name. You do have to have a second to be able to move forward. You can second your own name. And then before we go into actual votes, I have to actually call it like 3 times, just to make sure that it's understood, everyone has a chance, all right? So we'll start off, and do I hear any nominations for council president?
Michelle.
Michelle, all right.
I
Bob,
heard it.
Bob made the motion, seconded by Bill. Any other nominations?
Did you say Bob and then Bill?
Yep.
Yeah.
Any other nominations? All right, if not, we'll do roll call.
Councilwoman Dumont,
Here.
No,
Or, yes.
we know you're here.
I've been crazy for the last week.
You want the position?
Councilman Mason,
Yes.
Councilman Pangborn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wharton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
All right. And if everyone has had a chance to read the council meeting minutes from February 13th, 2025, do I hear a motion to approve?
I make the motion.
Bill made the motion,
I'll
second.
it.
Second by Katie.
President Dumont,
Yes.
Councilman Mason,
Yes.
Councilman Pangborn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wharton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
All right. Business of guest and public input. Do you have anything for us? All right. We'll go on to council reports. Finance.
Oh, sorry, I'm so sorry, guys.
You're fine.
My brain is like.
If I wasn't sitting in this sheet, I would be the same way.
You sure you don't want to nominate somebody else?
All right, zoning and property maintenance. So one thing that I want to bring up, because it's going to create a problem, is Heather had resigned from our property maintenance and zoning. And I said, well, I'll just take it over until we kind of figure out a person. Here's the dilemma. If I ticket the person, or if I cite them into mayor's court, I can't hear them in mayor's court. That means we have to cite them into municipal court. Municipal court doesn't have time for our stuff. So most likely they just get dismissed. I'm not saying they will, but like that's just, with their caseload, mowing the grass or someone go 90 and a 35, which is more important than 90 and a 35. So they'll just start dismissing our cases. So I have some things I need to send out for property maintenance. I'm going to look for someone that could probably do this for us. I'll kind of train them. That way we have that layer like we're supposed to, okay? So if you know anyone that is interested, let me know. Heather didn't charge us for that. It was Baltimore. We had a contract with them that we paid them. Is council all right paying for this position on top of it? When we used to actually pay for it, we used to pay $50 a month, because you do a lot of work in the summertime, you don't do any work in the wintertime type thing. Is that fine, or do we think we need to spend more?
How many hours do you think?
It depends. Like in the wintertime, there's nothing. In the summer, like right now, because it's spring and that's kind of when we send out that first wave of, hey, clean up your yard, they can probably do,
Should we do like 100, like for $10,
okay,
10 hours?
okay,
Like I feel like, haven't we talked like that it takes typically 10 hours?
okay, yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
on average.
Yeah.
Okay, so $100 per month,
Yeah. I would
okay,
say. I mean, I don't know what anybody else thinks, but
Yeah,
I feel like
look at
50
it.
might be a little low.
okay. All right, not a problem. So do I hear a motion to approve the $100 an hour? Is there gonna be a max?
$100 an hour?
Well, sorry.
Ooh, I wanted to-
Yeah, I do too.
Right, hello.
Never mind. See, Michelle, you're not the only one asleep. $100 a month, is that gonna cap at a certain hours or just whatever hours it takes? Because again, they're gonna have months that they probably don't do nothing and months that they're gonna do a lot more.
I'm gonna say, they're getting paid $100 a month.
Yeah, no matter what they do, yeah. So to me, I think it'll even out.
Half the hours,
Yeah.
just $100 a week.
Okay, all right, not a problem.
Make it like a flat.
Okay, not a problem. All right, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Corey made the motion,
Corey, I spelled your name wrong.
and Sarah second. Roll call?
President Dumont?
Yes.
Councilman Mason?
Yes.
Councilman Payne.
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morton?
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry?
Yes.
Okay, so again, if you know of anyone that might be interested in it, we're not gonna find anyone that knows how to do this job, and that's usually like, oh, I don't know what to do. We can train them, because again, we all get trained on how to do this, type thing, so it's not that hard, type thing. It's basically identifying stuff, doing the proper documentation, that's the hardest part, because to bring it to mayor's court, it should have proper documentation, just in case it does have to go municipal court. Because if you don't have your proper documentation, they're gonna toss it out. So let's start, and we pretty much have that down to a science, thanks, when we work with Baltimore, so. What's that?
I have a couple people.
Okay, yeah, yep. Records, rules, and law? Corey?
Nothing.
Okay. Recreation, I do have something for your committee, and your committee is you three.
Yes.
So we need to hire a pool manager.
Okay.
We only have one application, or do we have more?
Is that the committee?
Yes,
Is that the one you changed? There was one you changed?
that's the one I just checked on the sheet you gave me.
Okay, if it's on the sheet I gave you, that is the updated sheet.
Yes, Sarah
Okay.
Wharton, Corey Harrier, and Katie Henry.
Okay.
I double checked, because yes, we did change some people around.
Okay, thank
Um,
you.
We have currently just had the one application, right? For the pool
Correct.
manager? Okay,
Correct.
it's still open, but I would like to get a pool manager hired by April, because then they can start hiring lifeguards. So you guys just hire the pool manager. So if you guys can get with Sam, set up a night, review the application, you can do this interview that same night. With it only being one, it's probably not that hard, to do it. That way you don't have to waste a couple nights, and then just work with her to pull her in for an interview. I know Corey has interviewed people, you guys have interviewed people, right? You know what not to say, that's the most important thing. All right, because we've had people ask them their age and how many kids do you have and stuff that, like, yeah, you can't ask that in an interview and you'll get us all in trouble. All right. So county board, regional planning,
So regional planning, you just gave me the notice that we're gonna have a meeting where the group of the villages get together and review the details of what the county just offered us to use. So we'll get that set up.
Okay.
And then maybe report on it next meeting. And then, or at least, when we're in meeting. And then on the Board of Health, there is an actual meeting on March 27th.
okay. All right, and that'll be your first one for the year, right? That's
Yeah.
where they approve the budgets and everything. All right. All right, grant updates on the agenda, you'll see that shrunk a lot because we're winding down all of our grants. We're just really into the final stages and inspecting and final payout, stuff like that. So that's pretty much what that talks about. The only thing that we have open is the county level funding for ARPA, which is the water tower. I did try to reach out to our solicitor. As I explained, you had to send out a notice so many times per state law, I think it was 3, and we got that letter back from the contract, or from the bonding company just saying, you put us on notice. Then this one that goes out is the official, we are now going after the bond type thing. So that's kind of where we're at. I was hoping Brad might be able to give me an answer if he got that sent out last week or not. But if not, it'll be going out soon, because that was something that we talked about during our last meeting. And then from there, it's in their corner, the ball's in their corner, and they tell us what to do per se. Because under state law, they have multiple ways to remedy that, and they kind of get to pick their own path. Brad says typically they try to communicate like, hey, here are my options, which one do you guys like? But at the end of the day, they can just say, this is what we're gonna do, and this is how we're gonna make it right. Because they do still have to make it right, but how they get there doesn't really take our input, type thing, so. So hopefully more to come on that. And then Brad did say this could take another year or so to remedy, like, they do have time on their side. All right, maintenance, Casey.
Maintenance, let's see. Normal stuff, as far as EPA goes, we set through a class on how to build a CCR now. They are no longer checking them, we have to build our own, send them out. That's the water report we send out every year that says how our water did, testing wise and stuff like that.
They're not checking it anymore?
No, we just get fined.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's even wrong when they tell us it's right.
Yeah, so like even last year when I sent them in and did it 3 times, and they still did this on something
Yeah.
stupid. After they said, oh, you're, for the 3rd time. That's not like 3 years ago when we sent it in 15 times for corrections and got it.
It's a department that Elon Musk needs to oversee. That's all I'm gonna say.
From what I heard, he's cutting that, so it might get worse.
Yeah.
So that's an ongoing process. We got until June this year to get it ready and up. Continuing to look, we still have some leaks going around the village. We're still continuing to look. Hopefully we get something to pop, nothing's popping yet. On that note also, they're in town doing the sewer, so hopefully we can see something there. Maybe.
So,
We had to rebuild both the high service pumps down at the water plant and replace all the impellers down there. So we're actually, we need to start doing this probably, the impellers, probably once every 2 years. The one that went 3 years, even in 3 years, we're starting to see the holes in the loss of push, production, basically. We've repaired and repairing the generator at the water plant again. We were just down there this morning, half the morning, working on another part of it, trying to figure out why it won't pull, but it's up, it's running. We got all the ADAs set up around the village. And when I say set up, all the boxes are set up, except for like the one at the Grange and the one at the office, those are actually in play. And we have the other ones that'll be going out once the buildings open up. Because it'll be the shelter house, the pool.
Concession stand.
oh, and before you move on, sorry. So, Nick, this is a question for Garver Asset Protection. So these AEDs that we have that will be going out seasonally, like we have to bring them in during the winter months, and we're trying to find some strategic locations to put them in that are available. Would one be able to be put in Garver?
Sure.
Just to have? Okay.
Yep.
That'll just make one more available in case it's needed that, you know, not everyone can get to, but a decent amount of people can get to.
Yeah, that's fine, and if the dispatcher is comfortable, if it goes off, they'll leave and
Okay.
do it.
Okay, thanks.
With that being said, we still gotta set up a training schedule.
Yes.
The training class for that. There's been a lot of work on the rental building, you've seen that going through. We're continuing to fill the potholes around the village, we know there's still quite a few. The first couple we filled, they didn't go very well.
I was actually gonna say, I have a couple of neighbors, not that, I have other neighbors that have come to me,
Yes,
so when you can.
no, we gotta go get a tractor.
Yeah.
That's on the list, and it's hopefully within the next 2 weeks we will have
Okay,
the
yeah.
alleys working and.
They're fine for my cars because we're higher, but the one little girl, she goes to high school, either way she goes, her car's
Yeah.
real low,
Mm-hmm.
and she drives.
Yeah, there's a couple, and they're getting a couple worse back
Yeah,
in there.
because we borrow your brother's tractor and his box, right? Just, yeah,
Yes.
it's not something we owned.
It's not something we own, we actually go borrow.
Yes.
So we've actually got that on the list to go borrow the tractor and get the box blade and get the, we are gonna borrow Reman's roller and try to roll behind after this time, so it kind of compacts it a little bit better.
If Dave gets time, he said he can drag it, so I'll let you know if he does get time, I just don't know if he will.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
Because
gonna say.
we actually have a box braid in the tractor,
Right.
just doesn't always have time to get out there and do it.
Right, in the village, we been servicing the equipment. Just to give you guys a heads up though, in February, well, it's actually in February, but we just did that doing it. It was canceled and then we resubmitted and, or had to redo it. We did a RCAP class on how to exercise valve properly by the EPA standards. They don't have any standards, they're just making shit up as they go. My personal opinion, but if you read it, you'd say the same thing. And in March, like I said, we went to the CCR class, because like they are no longer going to check them, they're just checking them to see what we get wrong. That's all I got.
Yeah,
You got questions?
Any questions for Casey?
How much does a new generator cost for the water plant?
We're looking right around 60,000.
160,000.
Or yeah, 160 altogether.
Yeah.
60,000 is for the generator itself.
And then 100 for install?
Well, then you got 60 for the new box, the electric grid system box that goes with it, and then the rest would be all installed. That's adding the new fuel.
It has to switch over automatically every
Yeah.
so often, so that box is expensive. And then if we do put one in, we really ought to look at putting natural gas in, because there's
Yeah.
a gas line out there now, get rid of that diesel.
Are there usually grants available for stuff like that?
Well, we was looking at one, but the max they would pay is 50,000 of the 160. And we just don't have the cash right now for that, and it's limping along.
It just scares me because I feel like we're talking about it a lot.
Yeah,
Well, if you're down there when electric goes out, you can get it.
yeah. The biggest problem is if it goes out in the middle of the night, and that's on a different grid, that's on the Bremen grid. So, like, I'm on Second Street where
We
Michelle
don't know
lives.
it goes out.
We know when it goes out in Pleasantville, but the water tower is on a different grid. So if
Yeah.
we're on, but that one goes out, we have no clue, because it's on the Bremen-Rushville grid.
Right.
Now, Tony typically knows because he lost power down there. But if it's something more localized, then even he doesn't know, and you come in the next day, and they gotta start it up, and it takes a little bit longer to do it at that point, right? Yeah,
And it can be off for 24 hours,
Yeah.
and we're not gonna run out of water.
yeah. Yeah, because we have enough water in the air for, what, 3 days?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
Well,
no, right now we only got enough water in the air for
Yeah.
a day and a half.
yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, if we had both towers
if
up, we
the
would
other
have, yeah,
towers didn't have big holes in it.
yeah.
When we have both towers up and operational, we have 3 days water up in the air.
Well, when I win the lottery, I'll buy us a new generator.
All right,
That's all checked.
Can you
Well-
fix the tower also?
yeah,
I'll find somebody to fix the tower.
because we're that close.
That's on record, we're holding you to it.
I've already got plans.
You might want to stipulate which lottery too, because if you win that $2, I'm.
Yeah.
I win the big bucks.
Okay.
All right, any other questions for Casey? If not, Chief Grover? You did?
Let's see, we had 76 calls for February, I got the breakdown listed there, really nothing too terribly noteworthy. We did have what was formerly known as DUI, call it OBI these days, but, they had, I don't know, 2 weeks ago. Did you end up getting that on the list of ordinances, or not?
Yes, yeah, it's in here.
So, at other departments I've worked at, we've had the village pass an ordinance basically just to recoup the cost for the lab testing, because there's 3 ways of gaining additional evidence to prosecute a OVI. You can do a breath test, which is really inconvenient for us to do, and there's a strict timetable on that. You can do a urine test, which is the easiest for us to do because the highway patrol will give away kits to do them, but they do charge for the lab analysis. I think it's a somewhat nominal fee, somewhere between 75 and 125 a piece, but if you pass the ordinance, the court assess the cost back to the defendant if they are in fact over the legal limit or found guilty or plead guilty or whatever. Now, if they test under the legal limit, then we usually don't charge them that fee. But typically, we're not making an arrest unless we're pretty confident they're over the limit. So we just hadn't experienced that, so now that that's happened, well, we should probably do that. We have had a little bit of staff change, not a big deal at all. We are going really well, actually, for, basically being a volunteer department. So we lost Hannah LaCrone today to Lithopolis Police Department. She got hired full-time there and starts her field training, so it's good for her. Recently, I think since the last meeting, we put Patrick Sharp, who was, I believe, in her academy also. He hasn't worked anywhere else yet, so it'll be brand new. And Kyle Camerata, he works currently for Carroll and will continue to do so. He's just wanting to pick up some part-time hours, and he kind of likes the way we do things over there as compared to the way Carroll does things over there. So those are like the staff changes. We did order portable radios through Vazu a while ago. We were waiting on the great state of Ohio, specifically Marks, to get around to issuing us device IDs, which are basically just little digital numbers that go in the radio that communicate with the system to say it's an authenticated radio. And I don't know why that takes months to do, but we're waiting for that. So those radios are sitting on the shelf at Vazu. As soon as they get that, they'll program and send out to us. And we'll probably end up getting those just in time to beat the system security upgrade that's coming in the summertime, because the hand-me-downs that we have will be offline immediately, I think it's July 1st, if we don't get them replaced. Along with that, the mayor found a pretty good place for mobile radios, which will be the in-car radios. So we're gonna be purchasing 3 from them. That's about probably I would say a third of the cost of new ones. Still pretty expensive. They're around, I don't know, $1,800 or something like that a piece. And everything's super expensive. But that will be helpful for us, because these portable radios, they're good, but they're better when you're out of the car. Because as you can see, just as a police officer is normally dressed, I'm covering up my radio antenna. Half of the radio power is being lost into my body, but just because of natural physics. And then if we're inside a metal car, it further reduces the radio, because it's kind of like a line of sight communication, really. So the higher you get the antenna, the better. Well, okay, so if we have a high-powered radio in the car with an antenna on the roof, that's the best case scenario. We do miss radio traffic, so sometimes the dispatchers will get aggravated with us and, why is it that line? Okay, what do you want? And we just didn't hear it because we were in a bad spot in town, or I had my arm over the radio, whatever. So that will really help with that. I think that's basically it. You have any questions for me? I don't have a great detailed breakdown of everything, so it's kind of around late stage, you notice.
What did you do with the elevator rescue day?
Well, we really didn't get to do it. We got canceled as soon as we walked in the door, but at the elementary,
Oh, really?
yeah, somebody
They
was
had that one.
somebody was in there. It might have been a kid or something, and pressed the panic button like they were locked in or something. Yeah, so that's just how it's classified. All I did was went through the CAD and went call by call for the month of February, and then did this little list for you. And I'm like, oh my God, elevator rescue, I guess so. Because some of this stuff is, canceled, when we get called or whatever, or doesn't amount to much. That happens pretty frequently. So,
I feel like that was reported somewhere, though, on one of the community pages that you guys did an elevator rescue, because the guy already had written one.
I didn't know school had an elevator.
Well, I thought that when I read it, wherever I read it, so I feel like it was listed somewhere else,
it probably,
because I thought the same thing, I'm like, they have an elevator?
it's probably the only place I would think they would have one in town.
The Masons,
Oh, they have one?
yeah, on the backside. It's an external.
Methodist Church has one.
No, they took it out.
They take it out?
Oh, no,
I thought they just didn't.
they replaced it. They did take it out, but they had to replace it, yeah, and I think they finally got the money to replace it.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
That Mason's elevators, several Ostertoma ladies got caught in there for about 2 hours.
It wasn't me.
All right, anything else for Chief Garber? All right, old business, the tornado siren is up and working. Hopefully everyone's is hearing that on Wednesdays at noon. It has been relocated to this building, again, because we have the backup generator, everything else. So it probably wakes you up while you're sleeping over at Garber, right?
Thank you for moving it. It would make my ears bleed.
Well, now it makes our ears bleed.
I was standing in my car, that thing went off.
Scares the snot out of me every time.
I told, I come in the office, I told Sam, my skin's out in the driveway. Jeez.
All right, before we go into new business, this is new business, and this is just, we need to start having some conversations. This is not, hey, we're doing anything. So we gotta talk about taxes, all right? Everyone's favorite thing. So, if you follow local, state law, or state government, just everything, everyone's talking about, getting rid of property taxes in the state of Ohio, all right? There's probably gonna be some traction on that at some point over the next 5-10 years, all right? You know, a couple of people running for governor, that's what they're running on. If they get it, they're probably gonna push through some legislation to give some relief, which is not a bad thing. But then that kills villages, schools. So last time they had a conversation similar to this, it was what they called LGRAP, local government funding. So back in, you know, when I started in the 90s up until the 2000s, the village ran off LGRAP money. We got $70,000 a year in LGRAP. Today, we get $700 a year out of LGRAP, or 1,000, I mean, it's nothing. That's how they balance the budget. So the government at the time that ran in would balance this budget, but he didn't cut any of his programs at the state, he cut all city and village funding, and then he balanced the budget. So we're always the sacrificial goat in everything. So we have to start doing this stuff. We're not having this conversation because we're gonna have to. We need to have some intelligent conversations, we need to have some thought through this because we have some time. And the reason why I wanna do this is, so under our current, taxes, we have 3 different levies for property tax, okay? All of them are 2 mil levies, but they all bring in different amounts, okay? So we're gonna do some education. So, and I'm not an expert on this is just what I know. I could be saying something that's wrong, I apologize, but this is just Jason, what Jason knows, all right? So you have 3 different types of levies. You have a new, a replace, and a renew. Okay, a new is just what it is. It's a brand new one, put it on there, they voted or not. Replace is a replacement of a new under those same conditions. At the same valuation, and that's the most important part on that, the same valuation. A renewal is renewing the one that was put on, but probably changing the valuations or changing something. It still stays intact for the same thing, but it changes something, okay? So historically, Pleasantville has always done a replace, okay? So that's why we have different numbers. So the general fund one was created in 1991 in 2 mills, and it's based off of, if I remember my calculations, 1 mill is $10 for every 1,000 blah, 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 all right? But after that, there's this big, huge equation that they dump this data into to get what this true dollar amount is. So for the general fund, we collect $46,500 a year off of the 2 mil levy, because it's based off of 1991's taxable valuations, okay? The park, which was passed in 2012, again, is a 2 mil levy, but it's based off of property value in 2012, so we only get $19,500, okay? The police is a permanent. Permanents are not allowed anymore. So it used to be police and fire, they were allowed to do permanent, so you didn't have to go back to the voters every so many years. So we still have that permanent, so everyone tells you don't touch that one. And again, to touch it, you have to take it back to the voters, but the minute you change anything on this, it no longer becomes permanent, and it has to be changed to every 5 years. All right, so that was adopted in the 1980s, and that brings in about $23,000 a year. So we bring in about $89,000, $90,000 a year in property taxes for the village, okay? Specifically for general fund, specifically for park, specifically for police department. Cannot be used for anything other than what is in the language of those ballot issues, okay? Does that make sense? All right. So those all get renewed. We have to put them back on the ballot next year because they expire in 2027. You always have to put them out the year before. So this conversation is a 2-year conversation because as we talk about this, what do we want to do? And of course, we're going to get some more direction from the state, hopefully, on maybe which direction we're going to go. So let's make the assumption that they're going to get rid of all taxes, property taxes. So we're going to lose $90,000 a year in our budget. You're fired, he's gone, Sam's gone, like, I'm not joking here, like, that's what will make up that $90,000. We can't make up enough reducing our electric bill or whatever, it's payroll that has to get cut, okay? So, and that's not like a threat, that's not a ha-ha, that's just the reality of it, okay? So how do we replace it? If they get rid of that, our only option today that I know of is income tax, okay? So what kind of income tax do we need? And we've talked about this, you know, Michelle, you've been here for a while, we've talked about this over the last 7 years in different ways. We've never acted on it because we always find solutions, right? But there's nothing wrong with having the conversation, so we're prepared. So pros and cons of it. So the pros of passing it is, one, it would increase, and this is based off of 1%, if we do the, 1%, which will bring us up to a 2% total. That would bring in about $140,000 a year. So that would give us a little bit more money, which would help us, it would replace that property tax. It could possibly provide us more part-time police officers. It could fund infrastructure projects. It could offset our cost increase that keep going up and up and up, just like at your houses. And this right here is kind of something else, like if, whatever, but, let's just say, in this assumption, we decide to get rid of these, but the state doesn't tell us, well, why do that? Well, there's a benefit to seniors to reduce their tax liability, and again, put it back on people that work too. So like, that's why I have that listed as a pro. And of course, con, and it's the biggest con, it'll always be the con, is higher taxes, and we all hate higher taxes, right? So, again, that's just kind of what we're looking at. I did run some numbers, just to kind of give you some ideas, because, I don't know, I don't think people educate themselves well when we talk about property taxes, because every time someone gets their property tax, they call Penny and Sam, or they call me, and want to know why their total tax bill comes to Pleasantville, and what do they get for it? It's like, well, that dollar amount, we only get a few $100. Like, people don't understand taxes. So, on a $100,000 appraised value, and appraised value doesn't mean what your house is worth, it's what the county says it's appraised at, okay? Fairfield County is, well, I shouldn't say Fairfield County as a whole, Pleasantville is underappraised, just so you guys know. So, for example, the house I just bought, they have it appraised at $115,000. It's almost worth $300,000 in today's market. Was it really worth $300,000? No, I wouldn't spend $300,000 for it, but guess what? That's what the market will bear. All right, so it's at that appraised value of the county. They're only allowed to tax you on 35% of it. So the taxable value is $35,000. So that's kind of how they come up with the calculation. So based on a $100,000 house with standard reductions, which is your, crap, I can't remember like you live there, so you get a credit for that, Homestead Act, stuff like that. So just taking in those standard deductions, this is typically what someone in Pleasantville will pay. If you live on one township side versus the other, this could change some. So I took this as an example of the Walnut Township side, all right? So there could be some caveats, but county tax 270, township tax 170, school district 650, Eastland Vocational School 60, Fairfield County Parks 8, library 17, and the Pleasantville portion of that's $190. All right, so that's a tax bill of $1365 for every $100,000 of appraised value. So, all right, so that's how they get that. So we would be talking about this, if they do eliminate it, all this goes away, and all of us lose money, the schools lose money. No comment. Casey's my cracker jack box back here when it comes to that. But, let's say they keep this intact, do we want to keep going with property taxes, or do we want to change it up some? Because again, this could give seniors some relief. There's a high level, not in Pleasantville, but just nationally, or statewide, where seniors are losing only due to property taxes. And that's kind of why there's a big push to maybe get rid of this or change it. So, end of the day, what is the impact to someone? So our median income in 2023 was about $30,000. So a 1% tax is $301. So they'll basically be trading for every $100,000, $190 for a $301 paycheck decrease, or a year decrease, not whatever. So that's kind of what we're looking at. This is what we need to be thinking about, like once things start moving and once we get some more information, or as we get close to this, do we want to continue with property taxes? Or do we want to let these expire? discuss, in addition to what we just discussed here, to make a decision on what to do with that. You know, if we say, well, let's get rid of it too, let's have a more serious conversation about that. But this is kind of some stuff that we need to look at, or look at alternatives. These are just, you know, Jason brainstorming, but I think we need to start having this conversation because something is going to happen here in the next 5 to 10 years, and it's going to impact us big time. And if we're not ready, we're going to be like when we had lost LGRAP money. The village owners were paying because they had no other income. So we were ran out of that LGRAP money. But back then, $70,000 was, you know, probably $300,000 in today's value. So it was the biggest, that's how we paid electric bills, that's how we paid part-time employees. Well, no police contracting and that, but you know, all that stuff, that's $70,000. Because council didn't plan, that happened, they just won 4 years, and they had no money. They didn't have anything, you know, and they had to try to survive on it. And that's how we got to an income tax today. Because they had to. Does that make sense?
And this was kind of fly through and look at our house.
So it's this is off the top of my head, every 5 years, every 6 years, they do an evaluation, and then every 3 years, they have to go through and just do adjustments.
When is it time for adjustments?
I think adjustments will be next year or the year after,
I think it's next year.
next year.
I feel like-
They're doing Baltimore's now.
Are they doing Baltimore's now?
Unfortunately, I got a letter in the mail from the county telling me
Okay.
they were
Yeah.
gonna come out and be taking pictures to be on our property, so.
Okay, yeah. So, some places like Baltimore, I think their valuation, from what I read, is on par. But again, reports are usually 2 or 3 days behind. Of course, housing keeps going up and up really quick. So even though they said it was on par then, doesn't mean it's on par now. But I know Pleasantville, Thurston, like the southeastern part, or the eastern side of Fairfield County, because of the poorer communities, they were undervalued. And so the state is also making them fix stuff like that, where, you know, make it fair across the board. Not that we all have Pickerington taxes, but, you know, it's not fair to price out Pickerington properly and not to price out Pleasantville properly.
I'm okay with it.
What's that?
I said, I'm okay with it.
I'm okay with it. Like I said, what they have my property valued at, I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah, I paid our property taxes and the following week exactly,
Yeah,
I got a letter in the mail saying, I'm gonna be out taking pictures. I'm like,
yeah. Now, when we go to start having serious conversations, we'll probably do public hearings, kind of like what we did any other time that we've had, you know, things like this come up, because we want public input. We want to know if someone has a better idea. Typically, the ideas that come in is just slash our spending. Well, okay, slash your spending at home, like turn off your electric lights and don't take shower, you know, like, we already run on a
Eat
shoe.
only vegetables and build a garden.
Yeah, like, we're already on a shoestring budget, for a village of our size, and I think we do decently well. I'm sure there's things that we can look at internally and fix, but, it's not going to save us that much money.
And
type
also
thing.
might be something to think about is doing more than one thing, like
Yep,
maybe we consider increasing rate of 0.5% to 1.5 and,
yes. Yes, well, and I just done the 1% just to make
but you're
math
not,
easy,
you know
yes.
what I mean, like,
Yeah,
it's like diversifying, like.
yeah. Yeah, and there's all kinds of things you do with Rita.
Another thing you could do, well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong on this, but most people don't probably work in Pleasantville. They probably work in a
Mhm.
bigger city like Lancaster,
Yep.
Columbus, something like that. And I don't think that even if you made it at 2%, that they're actually paying the 2% because I think it becomes a shared thing with the city they work in. Isn't that right?
Depends on the language, so for Pleasantville,
No,
we,
I work in Columbus
yeah.
and I pay here and I
Yep.
pay.
They don't do a,
no, so,
Rita doesn't. So like if I lived in Columbus, they'd give me a credit for working here.
Yeah,
I used to
it-
do,
But Rita doesn't give us a credit, so for
yeah.
shared.
But it's local ordinances, so it's the village you live in that has to give you the credit, or the municipality you live in. So when we passed the ordinance, we gave no credits for nothing.
gotcha.
So that's why if you lived in Columbus, you would get a Columbus credit on their side. You still pay the full amount of wherever you worked, type thing.
I remember there being a big, I used to live in the city of Newark and then work in New Lex, and then the two tax agencies talked.
Yeah, old law, there was some type of an agreement that could be made.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I
yeah.
lived in Lancaster, because I pay 3% to Columbus, and I think I used to pay 2 to Lancaster. And Lancaster would give me a credit.
Yep.
Canal Winchester gave me a credit when I lived in
Yep. And that's one of the things, like when we had our talks prior about an income tax, we had 3 different scenarios of crediting different percentages. And it kind of gave us the amount that we would net out, I guess. So, but just to make that easy and clean without getting into that conversation, that's just,
Yeah. Well, I guess that, I mean, the income tax would probably allow the renters to pay a
Yes.
portion towards, instead of just the property owner.
yes, that's a pro. And the other side of it, and I don't want to get too much into that because I'm still learning, but there's all these new districts that could be created, taxing districts. And I'm going to use Pleasant Township, Lancaster, and us as an example. You know, we have a 1%, and I think Lancaster is a 2.5%, or, you know, whatever it is. They have the higher tax rate. Well, under the different taxing districts you can make, whoever has the highest tax, that's what you take your percentage off of. Well, it doesn't make any sense for Pleasant Township to partner with us because we only have 1%. It makes sense for them to partner with Lancaster because they have 2.5%. But then what that opens the door to is having, once you leave our municipality, a Lancaster taxing district right outside of our town, because they control the township. And so they can put that taxing district wherever they want. And there's even some, because Lancaster participates in it, to where they get money from Gahanna and Lancaster and vice versa, because of how they create these taxing districts now. Because it's all about trying to find the person with the highest tax rate to hook your boat to get some of that money. Again, I don't know enough about those. Still trying to figure all those out because there's like 5 or 6 of them. But, you know, those are always options too. All right. Any questions? If not, we'll go on to ordinances. Oh, in your packet, you do have your new updated mayor's committees. I did change it some, so just double check and see what committee you're on. And then it kind of gives you what the committee's goal is. And then the monthly meetings is as needed, but these are the dates that are set up for your meeting if you guys need to have them, type thing. You can have more meetings than what's on here, but just, that's like, when we created this, kind of gave a guide of when to do it. Just remember, your meetings do have to be announced to the public, and they have to be open to the public. So they have to be here, they can't be in your house, they can't be at a restaurant, they have to be in a public building, so. All right. Ordinance 3/13/2501. This is an ordinance promoting Officer Samuel King and Officer Kyle how do you say his last name? Camerata to a part-time position with the Pleasantville Police Department and the declaration of an emergency. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
All right, Sarah made the motion. Second,
I'll second it.
Corey?
President Dumont?
Yes.
Councilman Mason?
Yes.
Councilman Payborn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier?
Yes.
Councilman Wharton?
Yes.
Councilman Henry?
Yes.
And I need paperwork on him.
Pass that one to sign. All right. Ordinance 3/13/2502, establishing special duty PD rates. An ordinance establishing rates to be charged for special duty police personnel by the Village of Pleasantville on the declaration of emergency. In essence, what this does is we did have some opportunities last year to do special duty, and we kind of just flew by the seat of our pants when we created a cost. This right here actually puts it into ordinance. It also allows for it to be increased without coming back to this body every time. So basically, it will be based off what the Fairfield County Sheriff's Office rate is, minus $5. So currently, they are at $50 per hour. So our rate would be $45 an hour, plus the car charge of $5. The car charge stays at $5. And then again, if it goes up, ours can go up too, type thing. So any questions on that? If not, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
I'll
Bill-
second it.
Bill made the motion, Sarah second.
President Dumont?
Yes.
Councilman Mason?
Yes.
Councilman Payborn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wharton?
Yes.
Councilman Henry?
Yes.
All right. Ordinance 3/13/2503, an ordinance requiring municipal prisoners to pay for costs associated with their court-ordered confinement. So this is the ordinance that Nick was talking about. So when they do, we incur cost because of them, it allows the court to go back and impose those fees for recovery. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Sarah made the motion.
I'll
Second.
it.
Second by Katie.
President Dumont? Councilman Mason?
Yes.
Councilman Payborn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wharton?
Yes.
Councilman Henry?
Yes.
All right. Ordinance 3/13/2504, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement with Fairfield County designating Pleasantville to be a recycling host and the declaration of emergency. This is for effective dates January 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2027. And that's for the recycling bins outside of this facility. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Katie made the motion, seconded by Sarah.
President Dumont,
Yes.
Councilman Mason,
Yes.
Councilman Pangborn.
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilman Wharton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
All right, ordinance 313-2505, an ordinance to establish pay rates for the pay period beginning March 24th, 2025 for the Village of employees and the declaration of emergency, and this is for the annual 5% cost of living wage increase. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Sarah made the motion. Second.
I'll second.
Bill second.
President Dumont,
Yes.
Councilman Mason.
Sorry, I had to read it.
Yes.
You're fine.
I'm lagging behind.
Councilman Pangborn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier,
Yes.
Councilwoman Wharton,
Yes.
Councilwoman Henry.
Yes.
All right, in your packet too, just some follow-up information, or follow-on information. I did create, some request forms. We'll send these over to Nick too. But basically, so when someone does have a request, we kind of have it more formalized than, hey, Jason, can you send Nick over? So they'll complete this out. Nick will be the one approving it or disapproving it. Also giving feedback. So let's say they ask for one guard or one officer for an event, and he feels like it's more safe to have two, he's able to do that in there. So this is kind of what that is. So we just have paper trail on it. Kind of gives the disclaimers, you know, how you'll be billed, stuff like that. In addition to that, you also have a copy of the, sorry, that was it for special duty. But then, in addition to that, we are trying to talk to some of the different villages for contracted police services. Kind of like what Baltimore used to do for us. This is basically Baltimore's contract updated for everyone to review. Our solicitor is good with this, so this will be what we'll be using. But this is just for awareness, so you guys know what's in the contract type thing. So everywhere it says, where there's X's, it's basically we got to insert something there, whether it's the village's name or a dollar amount based on the contract or whatever, so. There's no votes that are needed on that. That's more of just a FYI, so you guys know what's going on. 100 North Main Street, the lease agreement. So we talked about that this last month, and again, EDF will be the agency or the business that will be leasing it. We talked about, you know, throwing out some numbers. I think when we left last month, maybe $1,200 a month. Again, it's as is. They agreed to $1,000 a month, if you guys are good with that. Okay. This is the lease agreement. Brad drafted it up. It went to their legal. They pencil whipped it, sent it back with just some minor changes. It'll go back to Brad. This is your guys' copy. Brad hopefully will have this back to me next week, because they do want to make this agreement effective April 1st, where they will move in probably mid-April to end of April, because they did extend their Baltimore lease by 1 month just to give us some time. With that $1,000 a month, we want to use that to put back into that building, right? We're already starting some work on it. I am getting some cost on some upgrades on it. And again, that building needs a lot of work. So when we had a contractor kind of walk through it and like to bring it back to pristine condition, in their opinion, what would it cost? And they gave us like $800,000. And that's the entire building. That's, you know, everything. Of course, we don't need to do that, right? And we can even chunk it off. So we had some people that came through Mayor's Court that needed to work off their fines that had some skill sets. So we put them to work. So they were able to fix some of the flooring and subflooring. We have some quotes coming in to replace the glass on the front of the building, because it is old, single pane. We lose a lot of heat in there. Plus, if we're going to rent it out, like, it needs to be a little bit more secure type thing. We're also having a contractor look at fixing up the one side like the office side of it, and then maybe move EDF on that side, and then finish the other side. Like, again, just keep chugging along. And EDF is good with all this, like, we won't disrupt their business type thing. They just will keep communicating when we need in the building to do upgrades, and they're just ecstatic to be over here. So I think it'll work out well for all of us. So more to come on that. You know, we'll bring some quotes, some pricing to you guys, maybe some different funding alternatives to it as well, so we can get moving with it, and we'll just kind of go from there. But I think in the long run, we can get that building up to a decent position to where we can start renting out the other side and making money on that one too. All right. One thing that I think we talked about last month, and I did change it in here, on page 4 of it, and your copy does have the correct terminology. Last month, we kind of talked about, you know, we would pay for the utilities maybe or whatever under that $1,000 while we pulled the utilities. Of course, we own the water. The trash, you know, doesn't cost us anything, so that, you know, we can cover the water, the sewer, and the trash. Electric and gas is what really kills us over there. So I did change that, and they're agreeable to it to where they would pay those bills. So that way we're not, because I think our gas bill for 1 month, when it was really, really cold, was like $300 and some for that entire building. And that'll eat up our $1,000 quickly, because then once the gas goes down, electric goes down, up because of the air conditioner, right? So, but they're willing to pay that. So that's really the only thing that I think I changed based off of our general conversation, so. Oh, I do need a vote to approve the $1,000 lease amount per month.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Corey made the motion, seconded by Sarah.
To approve the $1,000 lease, you said?
Yep,
Per month?
$1,000 a month lease to include trash, water, and sewer.
Yep, that's what I made a motion for.
Yep.
Corey, and then Sarah second?
Mhm.
Yep. Okay, President Dumont?
Yes.
Councilman Mason?
Yes.
Councilman Pangborn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morton?
Yes.
Councilman Henry?
Yes.
All right. And then once we get that to the final stage, we'll probably end up doing a phone vote to authorize me to sign this lease. I'm not asking you to do that tonight in case Brad comes back with significant changes to this type thing. But if it stays pretty much as is and he just, you know, changes, you know, cleans up language, I guess, then we'll do that type thing. All right, next thing is the 2025 mowing bid. So every year we subcontract out mowing properties that aren't owned by the village that property owners refuse to mow. So Starner has historically always given us the lowest bid. We don't go out for new bids every year. This is an off year where we don't really go out and go for bids to keep him competitive. And I believe it's the same price as last year, right, 160?
I think it went up $10.
Went up $10, okay.
Yeah.
Was 150, yeah, went to 160,
Yeah.
and that's per mowing, and that's for mowing, properties that we identify, that need to be mowed. So basically, it's when we reach out to property owners, they refuse to mow it, we put it on the mowing schedule, we mow it, and then we assess their property taxes, and then we get the money back to them. All right, are you guys good with continuing with Starner?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, everyone has a picture of this bronze plate for Mr. Audi in there. So if you remember 4 or 5 months back, Millersport Lions Club donated about $2,000 and some dollars, $2,800 to the Village of Pleasantville. They wanted something to honor his memory, and then what was left we can use for whatever Audi Park. So I've been working with the Lions Club, Millersport Lions Club, to kind of come up with something, and this is what we came up with. The cost of it is $1,135. And again, what they donated will cover that. I just need approval for that expenditure.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay. Katie made the motion.
Either one.
Okay. Sarah's on a roll tonight, so.
I am.
You can take me. I'll make the second.
All right.
Thanks. My ears said, what? President Dumont?
Yes.
Councilman Mason?
Yes.
Councilman Pangborn?
Yes.
Councilwoman Harrier?
Yes.
Councilwoman Morton?
Yes.
Councilman Henry?
Yes.
All right. Next thing on there, you can mark off of your list. It was the purchase of a 2019 Ford Explorer police vehicle from Glen Willow, Ohio. I was able to successfully bid on a cruiser that was ready to go for $3,251.87 and was approved through Gov Deals, but the seller always has the right to refuse, and they just sent me an email before this meeting, and they refused it. So we'll chuck that one off.
What's that saying, try again?
Well, trust me, like, I looked up that cruiser, so Asia Motors is kind of a good way to see what things are worth for police vehicles. So I looked up the same same year. Now theirs had like 80,000 miles, this had 120,000 miles, and they were selling theirs at Asia Motor for 16.5, and we were gonna buy one for 3, so obviously they probably didn't get the money out of it that they expected through the bid process, is my assumption, so. But it was worth a shot. All right. We'll go around the table. Katie,
No, I'm good.
Sarah, Corey,
Not a thing, thanks.
Michelle, Bill,
No.
Bob? You have anything else for me?
All I have is I gotta get my new computer up, cause my boss is giving me a hard time.
Yeah, you need to get that computer up, because I'm giving you a hard time.
You know what's gonna happen? It'll be the same thing like when we moved, that I see Penny, we moved tomorrow, pack your shit.
Yeah,
No, I think I'm gonna do it
And she's gonna
Tuesday, cause
panic.
I have a doctor's appointment at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then I'm just gonna come in early and just roar
Yep.
right through it.
Yep.
Can't see I won't be sitting over there bawling, but I'm gonna just roar right
it's,
through.
it's just technology.
I have a new computer
It's just a
and a new,
computer, Penny. That
I
one
know.
died.
a new computer and a new printer both,
Yeah.
so.
And she desperately needs both,
Yeah.
like needed them like months ago.
Yeah, so the, so
I've been
just,
begging.
yeah, for the awareness, so Penny's computer, whoever the clerk treasurer is, the state provides her with her computer and her printer. You know, that's the UAN fees that we pay every year, kind of covers that cost, because it's their software that's on there for our accounting system and stuff like that, so she gets a new one every 2 years, I believe it is, so. All right, Sam, do you have anything for us?
I do not.
All right, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
All
I'll
right,
second.
all right, we got both. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It is 7:57 PM.